So the third game in this series, England has taken it 25 points to 10. So their own drought of no wins has been broken. Funnily enough, in a very wet Cape Town environment. So yeah, it was wet. The conditions were not ideal for playing running rugby. The scoreline kind of reflects that. I mean, only 2 tries. But yeah, there was still some good rugby on display despite all that. And a couple of moments of magic. But yeah, very wet. South Africa had a fair bit of early ball. Yankees missed a penalty, which was it was kickable. But I guess your first one's always can be a bit of a rangefinder. Galant was taking a fair bit under the high ball. I guess just that back three being quite inexperienced for South Africa, it was a target for the English to go to him, but he was doing a pretty good job, especially given the ball was that wet. Faf de Klerk, what a tackle on Nathan Hughes. Like, Faf's not a big guy. Hughes is a big guy. And Faf just had him around the leg, driving him backwards in a very comical way. It was, yeah, I hope that's in the highlights package, because that was little man on big man, and the little man won. But yeah, there were still some errors. I mean, I guess partly due to the conditions. Like, Galant kicked the ball out in the full, so did Yankees. Farrell kicked the ball for a penalty and didn't find touch. Daly kicked the ball dead when trying to find touch. So there were errors on both sides. England had an early lead, I mean, through a Farrell penalty after about 9 minutes, but there was no big blowout lead this time. It was very low scoring in that first half. I think the second lot of points didn't come until about half an hour. That's how kind of tight things were. So I guess that's one thing for the Boks to look as a positive from this game, is that from the first kind of minute they looked more on the ball and didn't have to kind of mount a big comeback. Half time it was 3 points to 6. So England with 6, South Africa with 3. The stats were pretty even. Johnny May had a bit of magic to save one moment where the Boks had kicked it through. He chased it down. He was being pursued by Creel, by Nkosi, who are quick guys. He had it kind of on the right-hand side. Well, for him, it would have been the left. Had to run it back through his in-goal. Ran from pretty much sideline to almost the other sideline to get some space to kick the thing out. That was the kind of desperation that England needed. I mean, Johnny May's been good all series, but that was a kind of a saving moment for them in a game which was that tight. That kind of desperation to get the ball out was very encouraging. Second half, there were some tries. We got Galant with a magic little kick through for Creel, who managed to go through and score. But the English were not to be undone, because Cipriani had a little kick through, which was magic, and May got onto that one. So yeah, very, very talented stuff despite the conditions. So that was that kind of brought the game a bit more alive. It had been tight and defensive up until that point, with a few errors, but yeah, there was definitely still some skill on display. Farrell's boot was punishing South Africa all day long. The penalty count in this game ended up being 14-6. I start to get a little bit concerned when the penalty count gets so lopsided. I'll take feedback as to what you guys thought of the refereeing performance. Compared to the last 2 games with Australia and Ireland and New Zealand and France, I don't think there was anything majorly controversial, but a penalty count 14-6 is is hefty on one side. But Farrell was punishing that. I mean, all those points apart from May's try are from Farrell's boot. So yeah, he was just kicking them off the park basically. So yeah, he also, I thought he had a better attitude today. Like, there was last week he seemed frustrated and a bit petulant with the ref. This week he really had his head in the game and was doing a good job. So that was encouraging. So yeah, that was pretty much the story of the game. I mean, Vermeulen had a big game, so did Mostert for the Boks. Like I said, Johnny May, Farrell, even Atoje was doing better this week. So still some good performances, but yeah, just a good feeling win for England after a pretty poor run. For South Africa, it's definitely not the end of the world, because yeah, they won the previous 2. This one they tried out a few different combinations. Yankees didn't have his best game. I mean, it's hard to compare him to Pollard in the last couple of games because this week was so wet. But, you know, he missed the penalty. He knocked it on a couple of times. He got run over by Mike Brown at one point. He kicked it out on the full. He was subbed after 58 minutes. Wasn't exactly his putting his hand up saying, I'm definitely the fly half going forward for South Africa. Pollard also managed to kick off and not go 10, so he wasn't perfect when he came on either. But yeah, it was not really Yankees' best performance in a Bok jersey at all. But oh well, that's Rassie finding out new combinations. Pressure's off Eddie Jones a wee bit now. He can go into the break with a positive kind of swing, and maybe they can turn around things going forward in the year. So we'll see. What did you guys think of the game? Any key talking points apart from the penalty count? Bit of magic, like I said. What did you guys think? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again another time. All right, guys, see you later.